Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my keybinds. This is probably the question I get asked the most. Ever since I started making YouTube, people have noticed that when I play Genji, my dash is set to A, my deflect is set to F. So if these are my abilities, then how do I move? Do I use my mouse? But no, I don't do that. That's nonsense. 99% of the people watching right now probably use WASD. That's a standard kind of keyboard layout. 0.99% of you maybe use ESDF, which is actually, I think, a better keyboard layout. It's the same thing, it's just shifted one key unit to the right. Also, your hand is in proper keyboard typing position. The layout I use is WESD. These are the 4 keys I use to move. Let's go into training mode so I can show you what I'm talking about. Before we begin, I want to point out that I use this keybind layout for every character in Overwatch. It's not just Genji specific. I use this keyboard layout, in fact, for any PC game where movement is relevant, I suppose. My hands are in a key typing position. So if you guys play with WASD, then move your hand one key unit to the right so that your middle finger lies on D and not on S. I move forwards and backwards with my middle finger, and I press E and D to do so, respectively. You would press W and S with your middle finger. I press E and D to move forwards and backwards. Same thing. I use my ring finger to go left, just like you would, except instead of pressing A, I press S. Because remember, my entire hand is shifted to the right. But now here's the difference. I also use my ring finger to move right, and I do that by pressing W. So my middle finger is concerned with moving forwards and backwards, and my ring finger is concerned with moving left and right. And the reason this is so valuable compared to having to press WASD for movement is that my index finger isn't concerned with movement whatsoever. Let me show you this clip from KarQ's video, and maybe you'll start seeing the benefits to this.
Is that I recommend binding Discord and Harmony Orb on your mouse wheel. Discord Orb is bound to E by default, so you actually have to lift a finger off of a movement key to Discord someone, compared to scroll wheel spamming, which guarantees marking someone as soon as they're in line of sight. So you actually have to lift a finger off of a movement key to Discord someone. Lift a finger off of a movement key to Discord someone.
Before I continue talking about the benefits of WESD, let me make a quick analogy. When you're driving a car, you don't use your right foot for acceleration and your left foot for brake. You use only one foot, because you can't be doing both actions at the same time. You can't be accelerating and braking. So it doesn't make any sense for you to be using 2 feet. And in fact, nobody does that. In the same way, you don't need 2 fingers to press left and right, because at any given time, you can only be doing one of the 2 actions. If I press forwards and backwards at the same time, they cancel each other out. So it makes sense that I'm only using one finger to do that action. Likewise, I can't be moving right and left at the same time, so why would I use 2 different fingers? This layout is just more efficient, no matter how you look at it. Now, if you are watching this video and you're trying this keyboard layout, it'll definitely feel very weird and uncomfortable. But that's because you don't have the muscle memory for it. There is no inherent reason as to why WASD is easier to learn. WESD now feels more natural to me than WASD. I've been using this layout for about 4 years, and I really like it. I don't think I'm gonna ever go back to WASD. You might think AD spamming might feel uncomfortable on this layout. By AD spamming, I mean left and right spamming. But because the keys are right next to each other, you can really transition between them seamlessly. It's not really an issue. You can just kind of slide your finger between W and S. Since my ring finger and my middle finger take care of my character's movement, that means I can press any key I want with my index finger without impairing my mobility. If I were playing with WASD... Wait, let me get into a corner. Oh, if I was playing with WASD and I needed to press deflect, which by default would be on E, then I would either have to give up pressing right with my index finger, or I would have to give up pressing forward with my middle finger in order to press deflect. I don't have that issue because my movement is completely independent of whatever my index finger is doing. With this keyboard layout, I am free to press F, R, 4, 5, T, and G without interfering with my movement. Same thing goes for pressing Q, by the way. I can press Q with my pinky, and I don't have to give up any movement options. Now that you understand the benefits of using 2 fingers for movement as opposed to 3, I want to talk about a practical application for really any game. My index finger naturally lies on F, which again isn't a directional key, and I can have F do anything I want it to. That means I have immediate access to this key. In this case specifically, I have deflect for Genji, meaning that if somebody starts shooting at me and I need to react as fast as possible, I am ready. I am ready to deflect. My finger is already there. All I have to do is click the button instead of having to lift my finger from my directional key, moving it to my deflect key, and then pressing deflect. I'm a little bit faster because my finger is already there. And this can mean the difference between surviving a gunfight or losing one. I think that's everything I wanted to say about WESD, but I feel like this video wouldn't be complete without going through all of my keybinds in general for PC games. If you guys enjoyed this video, then I will probably make a follow-up video with specific keybinds for Overwatch, Blackout, Fortnite. I don't really play Fortnite anymore, but I thought I found a pretty good WESD layout for that game. Maybe even Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, do my controls for that game as well. I don't know, guys. We'll see. General shooter game for me. This is my layout. I have my index, which takes care of general utility, so stuff like weapon switching, inventory, communications. I have comfortable access to about 6 keys. With my index finger, R and F are the easiest and quickest to press, so I usually reserve them for stuff like abilities or melee, right? Stuff that I'm going to be pressing very frequently. I used to have melee on mouse 4, but it affected my aim negatively, so I decided to change that. If I need to press keys in quick succession, for instance, I need to animation cancel my melee with my ult, that's where my pinky comes in. And I'm able to do that, right? If I had my ult and my melee both on my index, then I wouldn't be able to do that. So you need to take that into consideration. You need to distribute the load properly for combos and stuff like that. My pinky will also press tab for general utility, A of course for my dash, and I'll also press Z with it. If there is a sprint button in a game, then A will always be my sprint button. As I said earlier, I only use my middle and ring finger for movement. I value that very much. My thumb presses spacebar, the X key, and most things to the right of it. I usually reserve C, V, and B for like stances. Overwatch obviously only has crouch, but if I'm playing Black Ops, DayZ, Metal Gear Solid, or something like that, I'll always use these 3 keys for stances. As I said, I use R to melee. I really like that. It's very easy to press. So my reload key is actually my mouse wheel click. I decided to move my reload key to my mouse wheel click. If I decide to reload, then surely I'm not tracking a target accurately or anything like that, so it works out. I recently decided to move my push to talk button from my side mouse button to my keyboard because again it messed up my aim. So I use X now for push to talk. I use that for every game. I don't use scroll wheel to cycle between my weapons. I use usually my 4 and 5 keys on my keyboard. Obviously in Overwatch I don't do that. I don't need to. I use my mouse as side buttons and my scroll up and scroll down for like utility stuff that doesn't require me to aim consistently. So like healing, maybe more communication, like my ultimate status, stuff like that. I think that's pretty much it. I think that covers everything, I hope. Let me know what you think about the keybind. Do you think it's practical, impractical? Impractical. Nice. Nice, Erstadan. Nice. More Genji videos coming out soon. Some McCree. I'm going to sneak in some McCree gameplay in there as well. My brother and I are the only people that use this layout. A little background story for you guys. My brother came up with this and I thought it looked very interesting. I couldn't really argue against it, so I decided to adopt it. And now it's my preferred keybind. So yeah. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. I'll catch you next time.